Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the Chaos to Clarity podcast, where we talk about the messy, unpredictable, yet super transformative world of entrepreneurship. I am your host, Sharmin Ali, and today we have two wonderful people with us. Dun-ta-da! And we have Pablo Casilimas and Justis Mendez, who are co-founders and managing partners of Onesixone Ventures, which is an early stage fund doing some incredible things that we want to discuss and also investing in some very bold entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, Pablo and Justis. How are you feeling? Are you excited?
Super excited.
Ready to go.
It's hard not to be excited with you here.
Thank you. I would so love to hear that. I'm going to make sure that my editor is like, okay, please highlight that line.
First testimonial.
Yes, yeah, amazing. Thank you. I am right now in Florida talking to these two people. So other than the fact that, you have incredible immigrant backgrounds, I am an immigrant myself. And so I really, really support immigrant, founders, investors. So I would love to know your story, all about, how you got started. Of course, you have a very unique journey, talk about everything. So you first.
Sure, yeah,
Pablo.
absolutely.
Yes.
So my parents are immigrants from Colombia and Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And they came here in the 80s. My mom came as a single mother of three. Mm-hmm. Her first 2 weeks in the U.S., she was in Miami, slept on a balcony for 2 weeks with her 3 kids.
Are you serious?
Her first job, she got a job at Burger King, and she had to go back like 5 times to get that job because she didn't have a social security number, she didn't speak English, and she somehow convinced them to hire her, and she worked the drive-thru there for months and months. My sister had to get a fake ID at 12 years old so she could get a job at KFC to help pay the bills. My dad first came to New York, and his first job was actually shoveling snow out of a parking lot for a restaurant. And eventually the restaurant owner said, "Hey, can you clean my car?" And he said, "Of course." And then the other people at the servers wanted him to clean their cars. Then he's like, "Hey, can you wash some dishes?" And he eventually worked his way up to be a server there, saved enough money to put himself through school to learn English, and then eventually put himself through school to learn programming. And he's still a programmer to this day. So that's where I got started. I was born in Miami, and I saw my parents work very hard. They lost everything during the financial crisis in 2008. Mm-hmm. And, for me, it made me realize that, it's not easy to earn $1, and you have to work very, very hard, and you could lose everything overnight if you don't protect yourself, if you don't learn the right things. And so it kind of instilled in me this seed of I need to build something. I need to do something great to be able to provide for my family and let them live a great mm-hmm. rest of their lives as well, because they've worked very hard. And so I went up to the University of Florida, barely got in, met Justis, became best friends. We started going out together all the time, and then threw a big party together, and then after that got shut down in 2 hours. I said, I'm never throwing a big party again. It's too much work. And then we started hosting meetups and networking events. And
amazing. Which year was this?
This is 2016.
2016.
Yeah, so 9 years ago.
Time
Almost.
flies.
Yeah.
So that's how you guys started in 2016. First hosting meetup events.
Yeah.
And then from there to Onesixone. I'll come to that, but first, Justis, I want to know your story.
Yeah.
How did you start?
We'll see how much time we have. I'll try and keep it short.
Oh, we have a lot of time. Tell me.
So my grandfather was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican by descent. And he came to this country with 10 cents. But growing up, 1 out of 5 kids in his neighborhood died of starvation during the Great Depression. So he was short, worked hard. It was a really tough life for him, and he came here at 19. Came here with 10 cents, worked farm to farm, sleeping on different hay stacks, hay barrels, getting in different trucks, just trying to go anywhere to make a few bucks just so he could survive here in the land of milk and honey, as he always called it. And my grandmother, when she was pregnant, would try and pick cherries just so that she could survive because they had very little food, and you got paid by the bushel, so she would try and eat as much as she could and then turn it in for cash. And so fast forward, he ended up in Cleveland, Ohio, working for the railroad. That's where I was born and raised. My mom as well. My mom's a single mother working at a factory, General Motors. And growing up, it was really difficult.
Still working?
Yeah, so yeah, for sure. She just actually retired like 2 months ago, but it's been 28 years of her working at this factory, and she had to retire because she got cancer, which was really difficult for her to work at a factory floor. So like I've always watched her come home covered in oil and a big like, blue jumpsuit on. So it was just like I didn't want to go do that. So luckily we have a fund now. So
Are you the firstborn?
I'm actually the youngest.
You're the youngest.
I'm the baby. I'm the boy. So I have 2 older sisters, and then I'm the baby.
And you were born and brought up here in America.
Yeah, for
both
sure.
Of you.
Yep, both of us for sure. So growing up with having a single mom and 3 kids, she couldn't always be there to help raise us. So I grew up with my grandparents a majority of my life. And in Cleveland, Ohio, what usually happens is you go out and you run the streets and you get in trouble. So I started off getting in trouble at a really young age, and by the time I was 14, I actually got kidnapped by gang members. And for a few hours, yeah. And from there, when I turned 15, I heard about a murder at the top of my street. It was actually my blood cousin. And then 1 year anniversary of his murder, my aunt ended up committing suicide overdose on heroin, and that's how I met my family. Because I never met my dad, I never saw his picture, never heard his voice. And at that time was when my aunt...
You've never seen your dad's picture?
Still never.
And there is absolutely
It could be this guy now, Simon. He's too young.
I am your father.
He wishes.
Oh
These
my
good
God.
genes come from somewhere else, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah.
So there is absolutely no record of your father.
So people know him, but I don't.
Okay.
Right? And
you
that's
haven't even seen a picture.
never even seen a picture. No, never. And it's
And you're okay with that? Like,
absolutely. You know what? I think it's part of the journey in life, right? Like, I think it makes the story that much better. I don't want to see a picture. It's just like, hey, at the end of the day, I get to be who I want to become and create who I want to be. And I just don't want to be anything like him. I want to be my complete own separate person.
Yeah.
So it's just like I just don't feel the need to chase somebody who's a bad person or chase somebody who didn't want to be in my life to begin with.
Right. So you were in Miami.
Yeah.
And you were in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is funny. There's actually a bridge in between Miami and Cleveland. Julia Tuttle was the mother of Miami. She founded Miami. She's from Cleveland.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Cosmic connection?
It is.
Are we talking about a cosmic connection here?
There's Cleveland people everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Interesting. So how did this happen? Like, okay, you were here, you were there. When I say here, because I'm in Florida right now, so I'm saying yes, you were here, and you were in Cleveland. So how did you guys meet? How did you guys connect? Where was that connection coming from, and how did 161 happen?
Yeah, so I first came here in 2013 for college, and
You were studying here in the University of Florida.
I was, yeah. And after my second year, I realized I didn't want to be an engineer. My parents always told me, like, you have to be a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer, because they wanted job security for me. But after I did my
Immigrants.
first... I know.
Same here.
Exactly.
I'm also an engineer, but electronics. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But never did anything in electronics. But yeah, please go
Yeah,
on.
so I after my first internship, I was like, I do not want to be an engineer. I don't want to work corporate, and I don't want to work 9 to 5.
So did you complete your engineering or no?
No, I didn't. So I changed my major. I started my first company, and around that time, I was looking for anything to help teach me how to build a company.
And how
Because
old were you then?
I just turned 21.
Oh my God, very young. Okay.
Yeah. So I was looking for everything. I was trying to read books, trying to go to meetups, trying to find classes that could teach me. I was skipping my own classes to sit in on other classes that would teach about entrepreneurship. And as part of that, I got involved with the entrepreneurship club on campus. And so that's how we connected. It was at a
Nice.
pitch night. So they would give every student the opportunity to get up and like do a pitch anything. And so I pitched like this mastermind app, like we're gonna create this app to connect you with other ambitious people that wanna build things. And he pitched something, and I'm sitting in the back of the class, and my friend was the president of the entrepreneurship club, and he leans in and he's like, haha, that kid Justice is so hood. That was the first time I'd ever seen him. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know. So he goes up, he does his pitch, whatever, and then we didn't really even like interact that day. But like 3 months later, my business partner at my company that I was starting says, you gotta meet this kid Justice. He's like, you're gonna love this kid. And he introduced us, and we got together at Tijuana Flats, a little Mexican fast food joint near campus. And then yeah, we just like clicked, like became best friends immediately.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How old are you both right now?
We're both 30 now.
Really? Oh my God, that is superb. And what is that is his side of the story. What is yours?
Yeah.
How
There's
did
three
you
sides
find
to it.
this connect?
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So after all that stuff happened that I told you, when I turned 18, my best friend ended up being on First 48 for aggravated murder. So like everybody around me is just like gangs, drugs, murder, like it's like insane.
Have you ever been to jail?
No. And I don't plan on that.
Yes.
No, but a lot of my friends growing up have. I mean, a lot of my friends are still there right now, which is like very difficult.
Yeah.
So, that's something I want to try and help kids at the early stage to prevent that type of stuff happening on later on.
Of course.
But anyways, back to the story. So, all of that happened. And at that time, it was a high-profile gang murder. So people were trying to kill his family and trying to kill him in prison, then also trying to kill me because I was his like right hand. I was just best friends. We'd sleep head to foot in bed together before school, and I'd drive him to class. It's just like a small crammed apartment. So when that happened, I ended up having to leave, and I looked for the first outlet that I possibly had, and I met some random guys that ended up in Gainesville, Florida, and I asked them. I said, I'll work for you for free if I have a free place to sleep, and they were like,
So did you just decide overnight that you had to move from Cleveland to
That's
Gainesville,
exactly
Florida?
it. Yeah.
Like why Florida?
First of all, I grew up coming to Florida always as a kid on the summers.
Okay.
So I just always,
you knew.
growing up, Miami Dolphins was my favorite football team, and not the Cleveland Browns. I always wanted to get, so in Cleveland, your plan is always growing up to get out of Cleveland.
Sorry, I am not. No political
Believe me,
connections.
I love Cleveland, but it's everybody who's from there will even tell you, like, you love it, but also there's parts of it you hate.
It's a rough place.
It's a rough place, so it's just like
Okay.
your end all be all is not to be like, oh, I'm gonna sit on a beach in Cleveland. It's like,
Yeah.
you want to go travel the world and explore places. Where I'm from, people think Orlando is Dubai. It's like,
I'm from India. I know Dubai. But
they're like,
okay,
"Damn, you're in
Orlando is Dubai."
Orlando, bro. It's like
I
you
like
made
the
it.
analogy.
Yeah, they're like, what?
I'm gonna cut that particular part and put it up on my Instagram. Be like, Orlando is America's Dubai. Good one.
Oh man.
Give me more of these. Yes.
Yeah, these are good. Right? Good clips. But yeah, so I started. So I came to their house and I was like, "Hey, I'll work for you for free." Ended up working on their car lot, just like detailing cars, doing anything to make money. Actually, I was working for free, now doing landscaping on the side for $20 a day. And
how old were you?
19.
At 19, you started working, doing
I
landscaping?
started working in a plastic factory when I was 16. I started being in the streets selling weed and stuff when I was like 13, So I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but who cares? I'd rather be transparent and honest than make shit up.
We all have chinks in our armor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're
No
not
problem.
human, you're
Yes.
a liar. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all of this, your story, yes. And then you guys meet.
Yes.
So, you were also doing engineering?
No, I wasn't. Business. And then,
Okay, business.
yeah, so strictly business. That should be a part
Yes,
of the podcast.
strictly business.
And when we met, I was already getting together with some of my friends that were engineers. Some of them
Okay.
were industrial systems, some were electrical engineers, and some of them were just like smart business kids. And we would get together once a week at my house. And I live like in a little place downtown, and we would get together. I would play a video, and it'd be like the future of 3D printing houses, and it's like, and it's really pretty early, like talking about how like China's 3D printing like 10 houses a day. And then we talk about like, okay, what are the business opportunities? What is the market? And I didn't really know where to go with this, but I knew like I just have to start getting smart people together. It was
Right.
after reading a book, Think and Grow Rich, which I think is similar to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which in the book it says like create a mastermind group. And like I always like in my neighborhood too, like you always want to build your army and
Yeah.
like get people around a common goal and like move
Yes.
forward. That's where you build strength. So yeah, we started doing that. And when he pitched a mastermind thing, it just like clicked, like, whoa, like he's trying to do some stuff. I'm already trying to do some stuff. So then naturally becoming best friends, it was
Yeah.
just like, why don't we combine forces and start to do this? But a lot of our friends were super smart engineers and they were leaving. So this is a transient place, Gainesville, Florida. People come here for 4 years from all over the world, and then they leave and they never come back again. Yeah,
They go to New York, San Francisco, because that's where the job opportunities
Dubai.
are.
Yes, in Dubai, Orlando.
Seattle.
So Very, very interesting. I mean, it's super fun to know that two completely different places, two different people, they meet up at a university, and then that's it. Universes just collide, and you're like, okay, we got to do this together.
Yeah.
So, how did 161 happen? I mean, what was that whole thing? Why even investments, right?
Yeah.
What happened? What was that whole idea or that seed that was planted because of which you were like, okay, leave everything else, we're going to start a fund. Like,
Yeah.
why? What was that whole idea, the crux, everything? Yeah. I want to know it all.
For sure. I like to say that we're accidental VCs. And the reason is that we never set out to build a VC firm.
Okay.
We were building our own companies at the time. And
What was it? What was the company?
I was building a small marketing company, like an agency, like doing video production and stuff like this, advertisements, promo videos. And he was building like a Airbnb for parking app. Because on the game days, there's like a lot of issues with parking, like finding a spot and all this.
Yes.
So as we're doing this, we're looking for resources, and we just started hosting events to start connecting and like learning, doing workshops, roundtables. In 2 years went by, we ended up building the largest tech community in between Orlando and Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And our events were completely free. We were self-funding and asking people to chip in, sometimes getting a food sponsor. And literally February of 2020, we announced we're going to start a membership. And there's going to be dues every year. And that's going to allow us to do bigger and better events, more frequent events. And then a couple weeks later, the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And so we had to cancel all of our plans of like doing all these events. So we started scrambling. We literally launched a podcast immediately after the pandemic. In 2 weeks, in 2 months, we got like over 10,000 views. We had like the former CEO of Priceline, like some big guests. And then we're like, how do we have a larger impact on these early stage founders and startups? And that's when we came up with the idea to launch an accelerator.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, we were like, we can't launch an accelerator. Like, we've never built a successful company before. And then as I kept doing more research and like learning more stuff, I was like, well, if you never start it, you're never going to learn how to build it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was like the key insight. And we're like, let's go. And we launched the accelerator like first week of June 2020.
Yeah.
In 2 years, helped 40 companies raise over $13 million. One of them got
2 years?
acquired. Yeah, in 2 years. And then we're looking at each other like, how do we get a piece of equity in these companies? Because we were doing it for free still. And then this is when the venture fund idea starts to get planted, like the seed, it was planted. Because we go to the VCs that were funding our deals and we ask them, hey, can we get a finder's fee or a scout fee?
Oh, yes.
They all told us no.
No?
Yeah. So then we're like, well, we have the deal flow. We're out here hustling. Like, we're working like overtime for free to get these deals and help these companies. Let's just raise our own money. Let's raise our own fund. And that's where the Fund 1 launched, which we just had our first close of Fund 1.
Which year was this?
That was in 2021 when we started having this conversation about launching a fund.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and when did the launch finally happen for the first fund?
2022. So 10 months after we started
just after
raising.
COVID then. Okay.
Just
wow.
after COVID, yeah.
Okay. And why the name 161?
So the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence,
Yeah.
it's 1.61.
Yes.
I have the seal on the back. Do I have the
Oh, no, you
seal?
don't.
No, right? No, you don't.
I don't think I have it either.
Yeah, okay.
One of the other shirts.
Yeah.
So naturalists say it's the most efficient path for growth in nature. So we like to say we're the most efficient path for growth of startups.
Oh. good
Because
thought,
what we
yes.
built is not only just a venture fund, but we built a platform. So like even the event that we're having tomorrow, there's gonna be 300 great investors, potential customers for some of these startups, a lot of other co-founders. We're gonna bring in a lot of engineers. So for these companies, we get to help them in different ways than your traditional VC would be able to help them. It's hard for them to be able to put them on this type of pedestal and pitch in front of 300 people. You're gonna hear from a few of our companies tomorrow. You're gonna see some of our co-investors. And for us, that's what helps us put the fuel on the fire that we could do a lot more to value add for these startups. And a majority of them have expressed to us, like, even though you're a small check and you're super young, like, you're the most value add investor on my cap table.
Nice.
Yeah.
By the way, the event tomorrow that Justice is talking about, I just want people to know, it is the Gainesville Tech Week. And where is it happening? Do you want to give a little
Yeah.
spiel?
So this is the
Yes.
Gainesville Tech Week flagship event. It's our third year doing this event. And it's actually happening at, they call it the Swamp. So it's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at University of Florida. And it's going to be at the Touchdown Terrace, which is one of their beautiful event spaces within the stadium. And this is, it's February 20th. It's a Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., full day. And we have a full day packed with panels, keynotes, pitches, and we'll have a great group of people there.
And who's giving the closing keynote again?
You
Sharmin Ali, let's go. Give it up for Sharmin. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a great segue because like you are also an immigrant and have an incredible story. So,
Yes.
you know, we'd love to turn it back on you and like hear about your journey. I know you've had some incredible experiences and built some
First of all,
great
I must
companies.
say that this was completely accidental.
Yeah.
Right? I live in New York. For those who know, and and I had absolutely no idea of coming to Gainesville in this particular week, but we have a bunch of common friends. So Sarah, if you're listening, because she's a very close friend, so I met her in Austin recently, and she was the one who connected me to your
Brandon.
team,
Yeah.
to Brandon.
Yeah.
And then Brandon asked me to chat with you all because I'm also an angel investor and I've had a bunch of startups in the past and stuff. So, that is how Brandon was like, you guys should meet and talk, and I'm so glad this happened. And I was like, I do this podcast and I'd love to feature you guys because, you're young, vibrant, and now investors at 30. This is amazing. There is. And they asked me to, also be at the event giving the closing keynote. Thank you. I'm really glad. I hope that comes out well.
Yeah.
Not prepared though, but let's see.
No, we're super excited. And also, thank you to Sarah for making that connection
Yes,
and Brandon,
yes.
both incredible people. So,
Yes. I would love to know more about 161, right? So, what kind of startups do you guys invest in? What kind of founders do you invest in? What's your thesis? Is there any particular, area that you look at investing in, domain, or are you agnostic? And do you support immigrants? And, what are you doing for inclusivity? Anything and everything around this. Because, of course, being a woman, I absolutely support gender diversity. And a lot of our audiences are women. So I'm sure they'd be more than excited to know, what are these two men doing in 161?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so we invest very early stage, so pre-seed and seed. We're doing bets all across like all verticals, all industries. It's really about the founding team. We do have a particular interest in like infrastructure for AI and cloud and dual use tech as well. But yeah, we're really looking for like the best founders. And more than a third of our portfolio is underserved populations, like underserved demographics. So like veterans, female-led, immigrant-led. So yeah, and obviously the two of us are Latinos and our parents were immigrants as well. So
which makes up for less than 2% of VCs actually.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, absolutely. I have also, so I'm also an LP in a few immigrant, funds. So because it's really needed. Less than 2%, yes. And less
Maybe
than
you'll be an
1%.
LP in 161.
We should talk. Tonight at the party.
At the
we should
dinner, at the
talk.
dinner.
Yes, at the dinner. Yes. So and also because less than 1% of
Are female.
female
Yeah, 100%.
female founders
Super
get funded.
100%.
So I think it's really important. I've actually also invested in 12 startups, out of which 7 are female founders.
Wow.
Female CEOs. So
We have a rock star founder, Daniela Blanco,
I have
with the
spoken
company.
with her,
Okay, yes.
yes.
Did you have her on the
Amazing.
show also? Or not yet?
Very soon.
Nice.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
She's
Absolutely
incredible.
love her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
amazing.
In fact, she's just based out of Austin.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
when we spoke, she told me about this. It's like, okay, because I'm gonna be in Austin for South by Southwest, early March. So I was like, we should catch up.
Yeah, and I'm going to be there as well. So
Oh, really?
Yeah,
we should
yeah,
catch
yeah.
up. Amazing.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you also
50-50
coming?
on it. I have a few other events
Okay.
I have to be at.
Okay.
So yeah.
Are you speaking?
I'm not speaking. We're gonna host a dinner, and then we got invited.
Pickleball.
Okay, count
We're
me
hosting
in.
a pickleball event too.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're hosting
nice.
a pickleball
Count
event.
me in. I
Yeah,
love pickleball. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be in Austin for that 1 week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So South by Southwest is Texas's largest event and also one of the most well-known tech events in the country. Of course, they have film festivals. They have a lot of other things. You'll find all the details below. But then, yes, I'm gonna be there. We should totally catch up.
Yeah.
Next, what I would really love to understand is that. So I love books. I've written 3 books. The third one's coming out in April. Do you guys like reading?
I love
reading.
Yeah. What is your favorite book and what is yours? We can start with you.
Too
Oh,
difficult.
that's yeah. I would have to say, so there's an author called Michael Singer.
Yes.
And he is like a spiritual guru and like mentor for like Tony Robbins and Oprah
Yeah.
Winfrey, and he lives right here in Gainesville. Actually,
Are you serious?
He has a little
Oh.
temple up here, like 30
my
minutes
God.
north of campus.
Wow.
Should try it.
He built it back in 1974, and he's been giving talks there every single week since then, over the past 50 years.
Have you heard him?
Oh, many times. I mean, you walk in there and your life changes. Like he's
interesting.
yeah. So he wrote a book called The Untethered Soul, which is his most popular book, and I'd say it's absolutely life changing. But he recently came
Yeah.
out with a new one called Life Untethered, Living Untethered, I believe. And I like that one even more. It's a little bit more
Nice.
smaller version, but like it's still like very, very powerful, the message that he has in there. And it's all about like letting go and like realizing that like life, the universe has been going on for billions of years. You're here for a little blip of
Yes.
time. And if you truly think that you're in control of everything, then you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so you have to just let go, and like
Yes.
life will play out perfectly.
Absolutely.
And you just have to respond the best that you can to the moment in front of you.
That reminds me. So my favorite book is by this author called Carl Sagan, The Dragons of Eden.
Yeah.
I think it came out sometime in the 1970s or something. So he has a similar thing in the first, in the first chapter, which says that, if we were to timeline evolution, right, then from 1st January to 31st December, then if you see where humans actually came on the 25th of December. And
Wow.
the modern man was not even there until the 31st of December.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yes. So which means that we are a tiny blip in the race against time. So
Yeah.
guys, don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
We need more
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Enjoy your time here.
Which is so impactful a thing,
Absolutely.
right? That, we are trying to conquer every other species, thinking that we are the most powerful, but then our lifespan has been just a tiny blip against the race of time, right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite book, Justice?
Yeah. So I would say for business, if like anybody's a beginner and just getting started off in business, I would suggest they read Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about communications, how to win friends and influence people.
Yes.
Something that's more about like looking internally at yourself. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So as a man thinketh, so he becomes. My favorite book about people is actually Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And then I think my favorite kind of like strategy book is 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene as well.
Yes. Nice.
So
Big Robert Greene guy.
Robert
Yeah.
Greene fan. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
yeah.
What about yours? What is your favorite book?
So I love Carl Sagan's Dragons of Eden.
Okay,
I've
that
read
one.
all of his
Yeah.
books actually. I love Cosmos. I love The Pale Blue Dot, which is
Wow.
about Earth, the pale blue dot, right? I'm a huge nonfiction fan. So
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, I've read them during school.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
been so
when I
long.
was in my 8th or 9th standard, I think J.K. Rowling was a big thing.
Yeah.
Back in India.
What house are you?
What house?
Yeah.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, Gryffindor for sure. I could tell.
Gryffindor, yes.
I'm also
I am
Gryffindor.
so Gryffindor.
I think he's
yes.
Slytherin. Did you ever do the
You're
test?
I'm like Harry Potter. I'm like, I'm both.
Oh my god, yes. Are you Slytherin? Seriously?
Nah.
No Ravenclaw?
You have to do the test. Did you ever do it?
Nah, we'll take the test out.
Okay, he's definitely Slytherin.
Yes. I am so Gryffindor, yes. So Gryffindor.
Same.
What I want to segue into now is a little bit about, because I've been a founder myself, so we've all had our own ups and downs in life, right? What I really want to understand, because you've been founders erstwhile, yes, and then now you're on the other side where the grass looks a little greener.
It's not much greener.
But
We're
yes.
still founders. Just of a
Still
VC
founders,
fund.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So, how do you deal with chaos? because the name of the podcast is Chaos to Clarity, right?
Yeah.
And, I always talk about the entrepreneur's life being finding clarity and thriving in chaos, right? I mean, if you can deal with it, or if you rather learn to dance in it rather than, running away from chaos, that's when you start thriving. So how do you deal with chaos in your day-to-day lives? I mean, I know that you both have had difficult backgrounds, difficult lives, and then now you've come so far. But when you look back, or, when you think of your life now, how do you define chaos? How do you thrive in it? Yeah.
So I think in the venture capital business, every single day is chaotic. I think like there's like you have a small blip where it's like, wow.
Why do you say that? Why do you say
Well,
that?
because, starting a startup, as you know, always things never go according to plan. So things always cost more than you think it's going to cost. They take longer than you expect, and they don't go according to the plan that you had. And so as a VC, we're investing in many, many companies. And so in the day-to-day, sometimes things are not going as we expected, as the founders had planned. Also for us, being fund managers, we're founders of a fund. And so, we made, like, when we first set out to raise the fund, we were like, cool, we're going to raise this amount of money. We're going to raise it in 6 months. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
How long did it take to raise the fund?
So it took us 10 months just to raise $500,000 to officially launch the fund.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we just had our final close. It was 3 years that we spent fundraising, and now we're over 4 million, so like 4.2 million.
So how large was the first fund?
This is the first fund.
Oh,
so
okay. 4.2 million. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And but around that, like during that journey, like it did not go as planned. Like we were not able to raise as quickly as we expected. It just, the market was here when we first started, and then it was down here like 6 months later.
Post-COVID,
Yeah. So I think like that's why like the life of venture capitalists is very chaotic, because you're at the mercy of the market. You're at the mercy of the startups, which are also at the mercy of different markets and like trends and like all these other things, and every day is just so different and chaotic.
So help me understand this, right? Being an early stage fund, right? How have you allocated the resources? I mean, without venturing into too many details, but just an overview. So let's say if someone who's watching you guys, right, also wants to start a fund, what should their approach be? What should they be thinking? How do they go about raising? Any tips, any, pro tips that you might have? And how do they allocate resources? Like, as in, I do understand a little bit about it, but then I want to hear it from you guys that, how do you divide that? Okay, so let's say if I have $4 million fund, for example, right? So 1 million, I'm going to keep it for, salaries for the team, let's say. Another 2 million, I'm going to be allocating into investments, into so-and-so varieties, right? And how do you decide what should be the investment size, right? As in the ticket size. Should it be a 50K or a 100K or a 150K? And then how many follow-ons do you do? So if someone wants to start a fund of their own, right, what should their strategy be?
So I would say the biggest thing if you want to start your own fund is first you have to find your own deal flow. And even if you're trying to break into VC,
define deal flow.
For everybody who's listening, deal flow is your ability to find great opportunities that you can invest in. So just like startup founders, the best deals are highly competitive. So like the deal that Sequoia is gonna fund later today, like nobody has access to it other than Sequoia. They want to take the whole entire round. So it's like, how can you get to the deal first, and how do you have access to the best founders? Because the best founders have unlimited choice and options, and they're only going to pick the best VCs that align with them. So it's like, how can you get the best deal flow? And if you could find the best deal flow, then you could break into VC. But if not, I think a lot of people have this misconception where they're just like, oh, I'm going to raise some money and then all of a sudden launch a fund because I think it'll be cool. But they don't have their own sense of deal flow. Maybe they were at a previous fund and want to spin off, but that fund had deal flow. they don't personally have deal flow. So back to like our origin stories, we started off hosting events. The events led us to meeting a bunch of founders. We compounded that network to build something bigger. Then we started doing educational programs. The educational programs turned into an accelerator. The accelerator, we'd have a bunch of different companies. We do a bunch of work on campus. So we built our own proprietary deal flow. Now, as far as the strategy behind allocating resources, your fund size is going to determine your fund strategy. So like, let's say for us, let's say $5 million, right? Okay, now how much, assume that 20% of that $5 million is already gone, because 2% a year comes as a management fee. So now you're left with, or $10 million for easy math, then you're left with $8 million, right? So from that $8 million, you have to figure out how much your lawyers cost, how much does everything else cost. Do you want to do follow-ons? If so, how big? Do you want 70-25 or 75-25? So it's all about just figuring out like how big of a fund that you're going to raise, and then following on. Like for us, we're not doing any follow-ons. We're just doing first check-in, $100,000 checks. No follow-ons, because we want a big enough diversification of companies, and it's a small fund. So like, what is your ownership target? How much do you want to be able to get?
Yeah, usually you want to have at least like 20 companies in the portfolio, especially if you're doing like pre-seed, then you want to have like 30 or close to 30, because it is by nature very risky when you're investing so early on. Sometimes these companies could be pre-revenue, right?
Most of them would be pre-revenue.
Yeah.
Or early, yeah.
So how many have you invested in already
20.
in the last 2 years?
About 20.
20 of them and 100K
I think
checks?
21. Didn't we just sign another term sheet last night?
Yeah, we did. So 21.
21 and 100K is your ticket size?
50 to 100K, but
50
what
to
we've done
100K.
also, we've had a couple of deals where we've done, it's called a special purpose vehicle.
SPV?
So, yeah,
yes.
SPV. So for people who don't know, this is let's say you get access to a really, really great opportunity and you're friends with the founder, they're allowing you to invest even though like it's oversubscribed. Then you can go to all your friends or your network or whoever, other investors, and say, hey, you can put in 5,000, you can put in 10,000, and you raise almost like this mini fund just to invest into one company.
Yeah. So there's just one name that goes onto the cap table in order to, not
Keep it
make
clean.
it, in order to keep it clean. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an SPV.
So
Okay,
we've done a couple
great.
of those, and it's been a
Okay,
larger check.
okay.
But from our fund, our max check is 100,000.
Okay,
So also
50 to 100.
Back to your point about the chaos to clarity part. I think that one of the best things I've ever heard from great entrepreneurs is that you have to keep a solid baseline. So I think people usually get these spikes of like a high, and then these really drops of like a low. And that's the dangerous part. The dangerous part is right here. And where you want to operate is just kind of like in this baseline of being steady. Like, okay, something great happens, like quickly celebrate it, but like get back to work. And then like something bad happens, like, hey, it's okay. Bad shit happens, something great's gonna happen tomorrow. And just like kind of keeping that steady is where you can kind of like solidly go forward. And then back to that, I think that a lot of people build process hoping for results. But I think instead what you need to do if you want to be great is let results build your process. And instead of coming in with these like notions of this is how I should be building my company, this is how I need to react to things, this is what I need to do going forward. I think if you just look at what works best and kind of take a step back from the business and really focus on like what's happening, then you get to build something great. And then you're not as much like attached to the exact moment. You're attached to the overall kind of holistic view of what the company is going to end up being instead of
Right.
just in the day-to-day.
Right. So what are you looking for in a founder when you decide to invest, right? Because I think this is a question that everyone wants to know, obviously, because founders want to raise money from you. So what is it that you're looking for? I mean, of course, at an early stage, what else can you even gauge within a startup, right? I mean,
Yeah.
lots of wonderful ideas, but then it's ultimately the team, right?
We're looking for you,
team
rock
and the
stars.
execution.
The next Sharmin.
Oh. but yeah, what
You
is
starting
it?
a company? Let us
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I am. Let's talk after this. Yes, I seriously am. But
Okay.
we'll talk after this. But yeah, I mean, what are you looking for in a founder? Like, I mean, how do you even understand, right? You don't have a degree in psychology. How do you even understand that, yes, this person has what it takes to deal with chaos and no matter whatever, he or she is not going to crack under pressure and will go out there and do whatever it takes to raise more funds, hire the team, do sales, continuously grind, hustle, whatever it takes to, help us also get an exit and even himself or herself get an exit, right? How do you gauge that just by meeting someone 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, so I think part of it,
unless of course the founder is a repeat founder, then yes, there is some traction proof. But for a first time founder, how do you know?
So I think it's understanding their past and have they been able to overcome adversity in some capacity. And this could be unrelated to starting a business. This could be maybe they were a collegiate track athlete, or maybe they played on the football team, or did something incredibly difficult, like they were a chess master or something. Any of these things take a lot of resilience because you have to get those reps in, and there's no way to keep getting better and better and better without failing quite a bit. So understanding their past, what have they been through, what have they overcome, and then also we really want to see a high level of they've got the communication skills, we're confident in their ability to sell and to be able to raise more money.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need that. And the other thing that we look for is, do they have the technical ability to actually build an early version of the product?
CTO.
Yeah. So usually it's 2 co-founders at the very least. And we do look at the first version of the product, the MVP or the beta version or whatever they have. But that for us is a gauge of what is this team capable of building.
So some basic traction. Do you look for that initially? Some basic
Always.
traction.
Yeah.
Is there a number? So let's say for a company which is raising $500,000 in pre-seed, right? Which is the usual pre-seed number, at a $3 million pre-money or something. I mean, a safe note with a $3 million cap probably, right? So do you need some traction at that point or no?
That's a pretty low price, low valuation. So for that, we probably wouldn't need to see that much traction, but if we're investing that early on, we would want to see an outstanding team.
Outstanding team.
Yeah.
Outstanding team.
But I think that there's a lot of ways that smart founders can get traction without having to build a lot of customers or build a lot of product.
I was coming to that question next, but yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of founders kind of think I need to have all these deals, I need to close them all. But we've seen amazing founders who go out there, build some type of small MVP, come back to potential customers and say, hey, can you sign this non-binding LOI?
Yes,
or maybe a binding
absolutely.
LOI. And then they get all these lined up and say, hey, let's do a 3-month pilot. Are you willing to start? I just need to go get this cash. Then you come to the VCs, you say, hey, I need the $500,000. That way I could service these 6 pilots. They're, 3 to 6 month pilots, and we'll see if they convert after. And it's coming together with a plan, I think, also helps a lot.
Absolutely. In fact, my first investor, he told me this. This was way back in 2017 or 18, I think. He was the first people that you need to sell to are your peers, your friends and family. Get them to pay for your product. If they don't want to pay, then why would any stranger want to pay, right?
That's true.
It is about convincing the folks who are probably the most difficult ones to, actually empty their pockets, right?
Yeah.
And if you can convince them to pay, then that means that, okay, it's half the battle won. Yeah. So, and another thing when it comes to fundraise, because we're talking about fundraising. So, for my first startup, this was back in 2014. I'm not that old, but okay. Back in 2014, when
you were
I
in high school building a startup back in India.
So, no, actually, I came to the US in 2010 first, and I had a job offer from Google, but I said no to them and ended up joining a startup based out of Chicago.
And your parents were very upset.
Yes, my dad was furious. Oh my God, furious. So I come from a family of nerds. Father is a scientist, mother's a lawyer. My younger sister is also a scientist. So I'm the least educated in my family. I'm just an engineer. I'm what are you? An engineer. That's it. No masters, no PhD. I have a family of doctorates. So anyway, grew that company to 300 million and then realized that I was just helping the rich get richer. Wasn't adding too much value to my own life. But one thing that definitely happened in that startup, so I joined them initially as a Python coder. Not too many people know this, because in engineering back in the day, we would still learn C, C++, Java, I did electronics, but still we had these mandatory courses that we had to do, So I could code. Like for a lot of people who don't know this, I still can, but I don't. I have a wonderful CTO who's been doing everything for the last 10 years of my startup journey. But one thing that I really understood in the first 6 months of that first company that I was working in was that, so the founder, the leadership team was like, you're meant to be in sales because, you have communication skills, you know how to tell a story, you know how to talk to people. And one thing that he told me, which till date I haven't forgotten, is that sales is about 90% listening and 10% speaking, because everyone wants to be heard. If you do not hear your customer out, what his actual problem is, you wouldn't even know what to sell to him or her.
Yeah.
Right? So that is something which was such a mind-blowing lesson. And then after that, when I went out to start my own company, I had no idea about fundraising initially. What I did, this is a very funny story. Someone told me about Y Combinator, right? Because Y Combinator has been obviously, when it comes to acceleration, right? I mean, earlier, yes, it was 150K, I think, and now it's 500K. So I was like, no, I don't want to take money from anyone. So what I did, I moved to San Jose for a few months just to sort of understand what the whole funding scene there is, So I wore this one T-shirt, and I think that Starbucks is still there. It's in Mountain View, and I was on my laptop pretending to do some work. I was watching Game of Thrones with those major headphones, and I had my hair tied up, and I was wearing shorts and a loose white color T-shirt. But on the back of the T-shirt was I said no to YC. Come ask me why.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I never applied also.
That's smart. That's good.
That's so smart.
And so I intentionally tied my hair up, and I was like, I want people to read that, and I was, doing something.
Watching
I was watching Game of Thrones. I'm a big fan of Jon Snow. I was like, okay, so 17 people came to me.
Wow.
Why did you say no to YC?
And you raised your whole round.
I did.
That is one of the best stories I've ever heard.
And I mean, I hope the YC guys don't. Sue
Is this
me
your first
for-
time sharing this publicly?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You told something
I love
about
it.
your about your background as a kid. You
Yeah.
did something. Well, I shamelessly leveraged the YC name
Yeah.
to raise funds.
I love it.
I think that would still work today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Let's
would.
move down. Let's move on.
Yeah.
We'll raise a bigger fund.
Yeah.
And we ended up raising a lot of money. And more importantly, I made connections with this one VC who eventually committed 200 million in my second startup after just a
Wow.
45-minute meeting. I'd met him at that Starbucks, yeah. Because someone had told me that, hey, you know what, these are some of the Starbucks where you have to go. Sand Hill Road, Mountain View, San Jose, whatever, right? All of these places
Full of
in
investors.
the Bay Area, yes. And you just gotta be, doing things that, whatever. I mean, they said that, you gotta code and go network and go to meetups. I was like, I don't have time to do so much because I traveled all the way from India for 2 months. I was stationed in the Bay Area. So what do you do, right? So,
Wow,
yeah,
what a
I was
story.
like, think on the feet,
Right.
do some of those things, build those networks, and right now I'm connected to I think some 5,000 VCs around the country.
That's
No
amazing.
way.
Because of the network,
Yeah.
right? They connect you to one after the other.
It's important.
Yes. Which brings me to my next question. How should people reach out to you? How can they connect with you? Can they just directly email? Can they stalk you on LinkedIn?
Yeah. I would say we're both super active on LinkedIn. I think that's one of the easiest ways to get in touch. Also, I'll share my email, Pablo at 161.ventures. He's Justice at the same. So, we're pretty accessible, but obviously we are getting like cold pitches from founders all the time. So I think like if you're a founder trying to pitch us, like try to get in through a warm introduction, somebody that we know, that we already have a relationship with, because we're going to be more likely to actually set up a meeting and get to know that founder versus somebody who just reaches out cold, because we don't know the quality of that founder and we can't respond to all of them. It's too much. We wouldn't be able to build a fund or a firm if we were just responding to all the cold pitches every day.
So can they probably look up your website, see which are the startups that you funded, reach out to those founders, and then maybe, sort of build a network through that, ask them for a warm introduction, right?
Yeah,
I would do this. If I come to stalking people,
You're giving
I am
them
like...
the game.
Yeah.
I would just go all out. Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever it takes just to get to the person that I am, because it's very easy through social media.
Absolutely.
But they should try to get a warm introduction that is more preferable for you.
Yeah.
And before we end, the last thing that I really would want to chat about is when it, comes to the daily hustle and the daily grind, right? What, according to you, from the startups and the founders that you've interacted and invested in, right? What do you think is the biggest challenge that a startup founder faces, in your opinion, today? What is the biggest challenge that a startup founder faces? Both of you, yeah.
The biggest challenge I've observed is going 0 to 1. So like actually building that first version of the product that you can actually sell, and like getting that first customer, or in some cases the first 5 customers. That's what I've seen as the hardest part.
Okay.
For me, I think it applies to almost every business. I think people seldomly know what to do next. I think that a lot of people kind of spin their tires and they think that they're being really busy, but it doesn't equate to being productive. So knowing like what drives my KPIs, what moves the needle on the business versus just doing a lot of things that don't really drive any results. So I think that could be from a product building standpoint. I think that's about marketing, operations, sales. So I think that that's not only just startups, I think that's a lot of small lifestyle businesses and local businesses. And I think that people just need to know what to do next, and they don't really align.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, because one thing that I've seen so I've been mentoring a bunch of founders also, so one thing that I've noticed is that the biggest challenge they faced is decision fatigue.
Yep.
Not knowing how to handle stress, because our education system doesn't obviously tell us how to deal with stress, right?
Yeah.
Instead of learning algebra and trigonometry or, geometry or whatever, why not teach how to deal with stress?
100%.
Yeah.
Or at least do taxes.
Yes. How to do taxes. Oh my God.
They don't teach any of that.
Biggest problem, yes.
They put you in jail if you don't pay.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my CPA is on my speed dial. Company taxes, personal taxes, go ahead. So yeah, decision fatigue is what I've seen to be a very big challenge in founders, So yeah, on that note, thank you so much, Pablo, and thank you so much, Justis.
Thank you.
I am so excited that I got to speak with 2 marvelous, magnificent people who are also immigrants with very unique journeys and great childhood experiences, great perspectives. I think that is what builds a man's character.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you.
Like Jensen Huang once said at one of his meetups, that I wish ample amounts of pain. I think you've already had your share of pain and suffering. Now it's time to go build, and I hope that your next fund is a $40 million fund at least, and then you go and expand. And are you also investing now currently, or is the fund one closed?
We're closed for LPs. We're not raising any more capital for it.
Okay.
But we are deploying. We'll be deploying for the next 12 months or 12 to 16 months.
Fantastic. 12 months more of runway left. Guys, you don't want to miss out. Reach out to Pablo and reach out to Justis and watch this full video and share it with everyone. Like, share, subscribe, follow us for more. Thank you so much, and we wish you ample amounts of pain and suffering. Not literally, but yeah, in your startup world. Keep building. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharmin.
Thank you. You're the best.
Yay! This is spontaneous. Absolutely.